inside of the Blue Water Inn. Vasili has recently left. I think it would be about 4:30, 5 o'clock in the afternoon as the conversation kind of winds down and he ends up leaving. Uh, Somewhat surprised. At one point, it definitely felt like he was going to be leaving with you all, as you were going to come spend some time at his manor, and things kind of twisted there. So we will see how those kind of play out. But you all are inside of Vallaki, perhaps now Octovia, and can go about your day as you might care to.
I think it might be worth a few minutes to go up and talk with the Mardikovs and see if they gleaned anything from the conversations we just had.
Yes, and I didn't mean to be deceptive, but thought that it was better we double checked with them for their safety, as not everything in this land appears to be what it seems.
Absolutely. Don't want to give anybody up if they don't want to be given up.
So yeah, I guess I will head back upstairs with everyone else if that's the plan. And
Yeah, I'm heading up also.
As the two of you head up the stairs, the door at the end of the hall will slowly creak open, and you see the bard inside kind of peek his head out. Is everything all right? Who was at the door?
it was the noble Vasili. I'm not sure if you know him, but
I don't know if I've met him.
when we first came to this town, we were locked outside for the night, and he was able to get us in. At the time, we did not know him, but he offered us food and rest, and also got us into Vallaki. Who knows what would have happened had he not? So we consider him to be as trusted of an ally as any. He has offered to provide a safe place to stay. Uh, we're relatively sure he can be trusted, although he does appear to be at least cordial with Madame Wachter.
Seems a lot of people are almost trustworthy. Keep your enemies close and your friends closer.
He has offered us not only a place to stay, but also use of his wagon, and the Mardikovs have spoke of the abbot, leader of Kresk, and that he is a ally to the family, so perhaps it would be in your best interest to travel with them and keep each other safe.
You think wagon travel would be safer?
Well, there's a horse out in the stables, and he has a small wagon. There's also some wine, so we thought that perhaps could be loaded up and in the light of day could travel safely. And he'll look back at Flea, and I feel like Kavi's up with us now.
Yeah, I
I
think Kavi was in the room, like in the boys' room.
Yeah, I suppose we could escort them if need be. But perhaps you could drive the wagon, and the Mardikovs could take to flight.
The horse is my Gimli. I have familiarity with running a wagon.
Well, let us discuss it with the Mardikovs, and perhaps we found a route for you all's safety. So I guess I'll like go up back to the room and sort of like tap my. Can I reach the ceiling with my stick? Can I poke on the little hay trap?
I feel like we said that you stood on one of the hunter's shoulders to get up there. So I think it could be kind of that same level of one of the hunters just kind of follows and gives you the boost up there.
Okay, yeah, I want to get their attention, but without like yelling out their name, just in case there's still like ears listening. So I'll like get up on his shoulder and just
Yeah, so it's not much more than a moment before you. Did you have something in mind, Flay?
Oh, I'm sorry now.
Word. It's not much more than a moment before you see a small crack come from above, and the trapdoor is kind of removed, and you have access to the higher level.
I'm not sure if you could hear our conversation, but that was Vasili the noble. He stopped by. He appeared to be looking for you. I didn't want to reveal your presence here, as while I have no reason to doubt his intentions, I'm not sure that anyone in this land is pure.
Here might be a good way to put it. I don't see why we should know one way or the other where most sit. But why would Van Holtz be looking for us? And you see as Davian kind of like looks around at some of the others. And it's not long before they look back and uh, what did he have to say? Is he gone?
Yes, he is gone for now. I invited him in not thinking, but as the conversation progressed and your name came up, I got a strange feeling, and when I pushed it a little further, I noticed he was acting strangely. He would not touch my hand and did not he did not appear to trust me completely, but we did not disclose your location, and when we spoke further about the abbot and the leader of Crest, I told him that perhaps we would borrow a wagon and take the horse and some wine from the stable and travel that way with some gifts.
The horse isn't ours. We weren't able to leave the Wizard of Wines with our horse. I Crest may be safe, but still, we have no intention of leaving the Blue Water Inn to these thugs. If we have to flee, we'll flee. We'll take our way.
Well, the choice is yours. We only meant to provide a means. Not sure whose horse it is, but chances are whoever's not coming back for it. Not sure. Do you own the Blue Water Inn?
You see here, Erwin and Davian kind of look back and forth, and it's as much mine as it could ever be, regardless of what the family might think.
Well, I don't mean to presume, but I imagine if it doesn't reopen at some point in time, someone will just claim it or loot it. And if people are looking for you, I suspect it's probably not for a good reason. So whether they take the Blue Water Inn over or burn it down or chase out the bird infestation, I can't imagine any of those will work out well for you. Perhaps if there's some other plan, you could disclose it.
People need to drink. People like to drink. Why would they burn us down? If there's any reason that we're safe in here now, it's because people like drink. And we have to stick to that. We have to hope.
And do you presume that Madame Wachter will allow you to continue operating it?
We've had our trouble with Madame Wachter in the past, but there's no particular reason to assume she'll come after us for any sacrifices. But that is why, for now, we stand back, let things progress, and as the pot simmers, perhaps find what solution there will be in the end.
Well, we are far travelers. I don't begin to even understand this place, let alone the motivations of those within it. So, if you feel comfortable hiding out up here for a few days, I suppose that's fine with us. I'm in no position to tell you what to do or who to do it with.
Does anybody else have anything that they'd like to ask any of the Mardikovs?
I believe it is time we should probably take our leave.
Before we go, is there anything you can tell us about Vasili? Do you know why he would be looking for you? Do you trust him? Should we?
His family is one of the oldest in this area. Perhaps one could almost assume he's in line with the Valakovich's fall and the Wachter's ascension. He might simply be next in line now. Were one to look at the ages of some of the peoples of this land. But other than how old his family is, there's not too much to tell. There's few people who travel as much as we do. But that's almost his business. Is entertaining and traveling. Than living on his family's name. There's little to speak of Vasili.
What do you mean living on his family's name? Is he not productive?
Few nobles are.
I certainly can't argue with that.
And is he human? Is he alive?
Clive is the next of us, I guess.
I suppose that's a strange question. I'm not sure where that was rooted at, but well, perhaps we will go see him on what of the hunters and of the bard here? Should they take the cart and go on to the abbot, or will they be safe here with you?
Oh, if Orlando is still here, that's his horse.
Yes, he
Of
spoke of it. He's still here. I'm surprised you didn't hear him.
of the hunters, I think you'll find they'll go on their way. We simply paid them some coin to investigate the Wizard of Wine. They're rather straightforward on that. A little bit of coin, and they'll probably do what you care for.
Well, I suppose that's all we needed then, as long as you're safe, and we'll continue on our way. And then I'll just like go back to the rest of the party and talk to them.
What time is sundown, roughly?
There is no sun, but you're probably approaching within the next few hours.
Well, what is next on our agenda? We had spoken of perhaps going to the hill and dealing with the rest of the druids. I know there's been some developments since then, but perhaps we should reunite with Vasili and we can spend the night here and do whatever tomorrow, maybe discuss it further, or perhaps he'll have some more information to disclose.
Tis reasonable, but before long I feel we're going to have to go to that swamp. Certainly not enough time to make that trip today.
Oh, just out of character, really quick. I thought we agreed we wanted to go to the hill and not the swamp because the swamp might be too powerful.
Oh, you're right. Sorry.
No, you're good. No worries. I was just double checking to make sure I had it right.
How far is the trip to the hill? Time wise?
You're probably looking at a probably looking at like 7 to 9 hours.
Definitely a full day's travel, getting in out before the dark.
I think we should stay with Vasili tonight and just bunker down. If the walkers aren't going to bother him, is our best bet. And we should head out in the morning.
I agree. Well spoken, Kavi. And we can ask Orlando what he would like to do. It's his horse, and Vasili has offered a wagon, so perhaps he would prefer to go take some refuge in Crest with the abbot.
I agree.
So yeah, we'll just go back over to Orlando's room and give it a knock or see what's up with him.
Door slowly creaks open after you knock on it.
Orlando, we're going to Vasili's now. The horse downstairs is yours. You can obviously stay here if you like, but we have arranged transport if you would like to take the wagon and some of the wine here and go to Crest for your own safety. But of course, the choice is yours.
I, I, ooh, I think I'm gonna have to stay as long as no one's bothering us here. I'd rather not provoke any attention that might get me in trouble. Feel safe enough? Hopefully everything lasts. And no trouble. No trouble would be best.
And I'll like reach down into I have like a little leather pouch around my waist, and I'll like spin it around front, and I'll like kind of open up a little flap on it, and I'll reach in and pull out a couple of little hard candies, and I'll hand them to Orlando and say, give a couple of these to Seabiscuit for me. He appeared to like them.
Gimli. Name's Gimli. But thank you. I'll definitely give them to him.
Oh, Gimli, that's a good name. I like that name. I just guessed. I like Seabiscuit too, but maybe Gimli Seabiscuit.
Oh, I think he's probably okay with one name.
Yeah, you're probably right. But I would see to him at some point in time. He appeared to be a little anxious down there. He was trying to get out, so.
He's not used to being kept up. But I don't know if he's aware of how dangerous it is, and we're trying to lie low. No trouble. We don't want any trouble. If we can avoid it, everything will be better without it.
All right. Well, we're headed out. Be safe and lay low, and we'll see you again. Take care of yourself.
Well, you do the same. Take care of yourselves as well.
We're off to see the noble, the wonderful noble of Strahd. So yeah, I guess we'll head to see Vasili, if that's the plan.
I believe so.
So, you all are currently at the Blue Water Inn, which is pretty much central of Vallaki. And Vasili's home is off towards the western entrance to the city. You can head in that direction as you would like. There are different routes depending on how secretive and how explicit you intend to travel that distance, but it is up to you all how you would like to get there.
I would prefer not to take a direct route. Just be a little bit circuitous.
Yeah, I'm game for that. We can be sneaky. I think overall we usually do pretty good.
So describe what you want to do then. How do you want to do it? Do you want to go along the north and make your way like next to the actual palisade? Do you just want to go pretty much directly there but not on the road? Do you want to go into the south, do the same thing where you're going pretty much directly there, just not on the road? Go down the south where you take like side roads, go down the south towards the palisade. There's a lot of options how you can do that.
The city square is to the south, and I think we all agreed we kind of want to stay away from there, right? So whatever we do, let's stay away from there.
Yes, I think we should avoid the square and Madame Wachtter's place. She appears to set up a little sort of clan around her home. So if we can avoid them and stick to the back alleys, make our way north, but semi-direct, I think that would be the most ideal.
Fair enough. Let us go.
So something like that is what you're thinking?
Works for me.
Yeah, that looks good to me.
So as you all prepare to leave the Blue Water Inn, you can kind of look out a lot of the different entrances, depending on where you kind of are thinking the most worry is. But by and large, the safest was the original door that you walked into that led into the actual stables. And it basically looks into the backyard lot of the Blue Water Inn between itself and effectively what is like a side building that's next to the Blue Water Inn. So you guys can step out there on the north side, and you're basically immediately confronted with a street to cross into that first triangular portion that leads to the next part of Vallaki. It's a couple of houses. Most of them are facing off to the east, but there is one house that is directly facing towards the Blue Water Inn there on that first street. But if you all will roll stealth checks.
Oops, sorry, I didn't think the first one rolled.
You cross the first lot, making your way into the side of two houses where they have a narrow portion between them. And you spot what is the road that leads between the Wachter house and what eventually is the town center in the courtyard, or not courtyard, it's wrong word, but the courtyard of the town center. And do another stealth check here. There's little activity on the street at present. There's not really anything going on. You can still see that there seems to be signs around the town itself of things happening, but it is hard to really spot where anything would be at this point. Many of the fires have burned out before you even arrived here, and much of it is still smoldering, but you all are able to make it across. And as you make your way to spot the next crossing, you see ahead of you a lot that seems like blocked off by a fence that covers that large area there to the side. Let me have you all make a perception check. So while you all are trying to spot a way to actually make your way across this little bit of land that is fenced off in this location, you actually notice that there is a extremely bright and brilliant, festive-looking wagon that seems to be in storage here.
I'll look over at the party and whisper, a wagon? A wagon of wonders?
But you are able to find your way through the fencing and basically find yourselves inside of this yard that seems to be storage of sorts. It has a lot of different things, like basically set off just in different spots. For what it's worth, this is basically inside of another business that you all have passed a few times here, but it is a little storage yard, and this wagon seems to be one of the things that is currently being stored here.
Do we recognize this wagon?
Nope.
Flea, it's the wagon from the prophecy. I wonder who it belongs to. Can we get up to it? Does it look like it's possible somebody could be living in it, or is it more likely like abandoned, like sitting, and there's like a house or business we can approach?
You guys would know that you are essentially inside of the business that owns this yard. But effectively, from what you can tell looking at the wagon, it doesn't seem to be lived in, but you can approach it if you would like.
We're already here. Might as well. Yeah, I'll go up to it and like get up close and just kind of like if there's like a door or something that looks like maybe it opens, I'll just kind of tap on it.
It basically has like a set of double doors at the front of the wagon, double doors at the rear of the wagon, and then it seems to have like swing out doors, as if almost the entire wagon kind of opens up to present itself.
Hello. I don't suppose anyone's in there. It's Sarkis. I mean you no harm.
There is a banging and a rattling as the whole wagon starts to kind of toss from side to side, and then there is a loud thud as the wagon like smashes in the direction of where you are and sort of like rocks, almost gains a balance before it falls back to its stationary position.
Who's in there? Hello? Hello? Please come out, but try not to draw too much attention.
As you like lean in a little bit more to try to figure out what's going on, there's a snarl from within, very much inhuman. Nothing about this recalls like something that you've heard people make. Scraping of metal and again like cracking of wood as once again the wagon like lurches towards you.
Do we get the impression there's some sort of like beast or animal inside here trying to get out right now?
I think that's a perfectly safe assumption.
Um, Perhaps we should find the owner who this belongs to before we find out what's inside.
Perhaps we should just leave it be.
I don't think we're just here by coincidence, Flea. This is clearly the Wagon of Wonders, the bringer of joy. Must belong to the great warrior. I didn't sight.
I just hope it's not the bringer of death.
Perhaps they're one and the same. The prophecy didn't say it was our death.
As you continue looking around the wagon, there's not really anything responding to anything but like when you kind of knock on the actual edges. It's otherwise kind of calm and silent. Going around one of the sides, though, you do see that there is a sign that says, and this is part of the actual picture there, it says Rictavio's Carnival of Wonders. And there is spattered blood along the bottom of that sign.
Rictavio?
Yep, Rictavio's Carnival of Wonders. Roll an intelligence for me, Sarkis. So it's up to you all how you would like to approach this, if you would like to continue to investigate closer, or if you are looking to move on.
Maybe it's not something bad in there. Maybe it's just trapped, or perhaps it's just grumpy because we woke it up. Should we persist, or?
Maybe we come back at a better time.
Perhaps the best choice.
It is daytime. You think it would be better at night? I feel like it was meant to be. Of all the fences, of all the yards, of all the places we could have went, and we find it here, part of the prophecy. I feel like we'd be trying to dodge fate if we didn't at least see what or who's inside, at least of the shop, if not the wagon itself. Stand back. I'll open it. I'm not afraid of fate. If it was meant to be, it was meant to be. Something has led us here.
I will cover you with my bow. Please come back off a bit since he's got some range with this bow.
As you investigate a little closer to prepare to open the doors, you see all of the doors have like pretty solid padlocks on them. So if you have an ability to pick them, you can try to pick them, but they definitely have a good complication to them.
Flea, might need you to. How can something be locked in here but still alive? There must be someone tending to it if the locks are on the outside and the creature's on the inside.
Can Flea safely pick the lock and step away before the door gets opened?
Sure. You pick the lock, Flea, and I'll wait to pull it off until after you step away.
Alrighty.
Yeah, like the gamble of that question is like you can pick the lock, but if the creature were to leap into the door, you're pretty certain that the door will not hold without the lock there. But you guys don't have to open the door even after you pick the lock.
Yeah, I'm not going to remove the lock. I'm just going to pick it and keep the hasp. I mean, the bolt part through the hasp.
And this whole time, we haven't seen any like movement or anything from like the I guess like shop that's like a part of this.
Roll a perception. You're relatively sure that you see that there are people inside of the stockyards, like main building, but they don't seem to have responded to anybody being back here. So on some level, you can probably rest assured, like, they expect if they have somebody walking around the stockyard that they're going to walk in the entrance and come through what is effectively like their home slash the entrance gate to the stockyard.
This might be a dumb question, but they would know the concept of like a guard dog, right?
Yeah, that's not crazy to assume. It's one of the oldest reasons why people had dogs and animals like that.
Well, I mean, I suppose the intelligent thing to do would be go up to the main area and speak with those that live here and try and find out whose wagon this is, if this Rictavio is around. I Or we could just see for ourselves.
If we're going to do this, let's see for ourselves. Okay, what do you want? Dexterity check?
Nope, doing. I've been doing a different kind of lock picking for a while now. Roll 4d6. So you take a moment to put your pins inside of this padlock, and very quickly, with next to no effort, you get the first tumbler, second tumbler, third tumbler, fourth tumbler, and in an instant, you just unlock the padlock. There was next to no effort put into that, and it takes you just a few minutes.
Okay, I'm going to put my thieves' tool away, back off a fair pace, and get my bow out.
Kabi, are you in position? Ready?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Describe what you're doing, Coffee.
You said it sounded like.
Saying I'm fine tells me nothing about what you're trying to do.
You said there's like scraping and like something metal.
Like you heard scraping against metal, yeah?
So she's standing like to the side of the doors and she has a ration out just in case.
So how are you approaching it, Circus? There's basically that little platform that you could hop up on to get like at the right height for the doors. Or you're probably going to be on some way like kind of barred by the platform almost. Just height to distance away from the doors.
Okay. I'm gonna look back at Flea. I'll get up on the platform, and then I'm gonna look back at Flea, and I'm gonna just kind of like say, still kind of quietly, "Don't be hasty now. He may seem aggressive at first." And then I'm gonna like hold my. Oh, go.
Don't worry, buddy. If there's something in there pissed, you'll be the first to know.
I'll hold my staff out like kind of in front of me, in case it tries to bite at me. I can hopefully stop it, and then I'm gonna open the door.
What were you saying in case it tries to bite you that you'll try to stop it?
Yeah, like if it tries to bite me, I'll like if the dog was like say trying to bite you, for instance, you'd like.
Oh, I just missed the first part of it. What did you say?
Oh, I just hold my staff out, kind of like.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, that's what I missed was what you were holding out. So you slowly open the door, you just kind of throwing it open?
I'm still trying to be like slow and quiet, not to draw too much attention. And I guess as I open it, I'll just say, "Rictavio, is that you?"
So do a stealth check for me. All right, so the moment the door starts to move, I need an animal handling check. You start to open the door, and there is a bash of force from the opposite side, and inside you are going to see as a big tiger leaps out on top of you. It is going to stand on your chest, and you see that this thing is clad in plated mail. As you are bashed back from the doors, it leaps out on top of you in that same moment, and it is right above you. What are you all doing?
Standing on top of me right now?
Yep. You're effectively grappled and restrained.
Sarkis will just point at himself and say, "Friend, friend."
Kavi, Flea, reactions?
Alright, so being next to, like, I'm assuming she's behind the tiger.
Yeah, at this point you're probably around like its hind flank. Like the hind legs.
So Kavi holds the ration in front of her. She goes, "Here, here, want some food?"
You can make an animal handling. Flea, what are you doing?
If it gets aggressive with Kavi as well, then I'm just going to put an arrow in its head.
So it leapt out of this and is on top of Sarkis, and you are still holding your shot?
At this point, yes.
Continuing to pin down Sarkis, it is going to reach back and bite the ration in your hand. Do a dexterity saving throw for me, copy. You feel as its teeth start to come down on your hand, and you're able to pull away from the ration in just enough time that you feel like little scratches of its teeth, but you actually see one of its saber tooth, it's a saber tooth tiger. You see as one of its incisors is almost the length of your entire forearm. And then it looks right back into Sarkis. What are you doing, Sarkis?
I am. Can I talk while it's standing on top of me, even though I'm only 40 pounds?
It is surprisingly putting very little pressure on you.
We're looking for the great warrior, the wagon of wonders, the bringer of joy, hiding in plain sight.
Make an intelligence check for me. As you kind of say this to the creature, you see a little bit of a response in its eyes, and as it kind of responds to you, you hear it growls to you, and very similar to when you first met Gimli, it sounds almost like it's trying to speak to you, but it's still speaking in growls.
I don't suppose you speak common. Does it look like it's wearing armor that it's wearing on its own, or does it look like it's wearing barding?
How would you tell the difference? What do you mean armor that it's wearing on its own, whereas barding is armor that's created for a creature?
Well, I guess I'm kind of picturing it being more humanoid than just like a beast at this point. So I guess like if it looks like it's a type of armor it could put on itself, um, versus like something that would have to be put on it by like its master, I guess.
I'm not as sure where the big difference would be. If you're familiar enough with druids to understand those who would kind of put on their own armor and have the ability to become creatures, they often absorb their armor, and the armor doesn't actually like show through while they are in an animal form. But this thing seems to have armor that fits its body and moves with it with perfection. Not only does it seem to be created for this creature, but it also seems to be immaculately created for this creature.
Okay, I'm gonna say, and you understand me. I'm not doing anything hostile, just reaching for a treat. And I'm gonna like slowly reach to my pouch to pull out some food.
Do an animal handling with advantage. As you say, I'm not doing anything hostile, you feel the weight of its paw lift off of you, and there's like a little bit of like a scratch from its claws, but overall it's nothing that's like really harmful to you. It's almost that feeling of this is still a massive, powerful beast, and it's not lacking in danger. But it seems to react by that thought that you're not doing anything hostile, and as you go to pull a treat for it, it licks your face, and it smells like rot. It has terrible breath. You can't smell anything.
I can't smell anything.
Fuck. You are the only character who I ever describe smells to, and you have no nose. Yeah.
Makes it all the sweeter, I think, because like I just like love it. As where normally maybe I'd be like put off by it.
Yeah, it licks your face, and you got like a lot of slobber on you. But yeah, it seems like a friendly creature, and it seems like on some level it's a tame creature. Um, but it'll take the treat from you, and it kind of like looks around, and it's going to smell the other two.
I'm lowering the bow.
As it kind of smells over them, it doesn't seem to react. And after a while, it's going to leap back into the wagon. And you'll see as it jumps back in, it actually has like a little stuffed animal that it's just going to pick up and kind of like thrash to the side. And then it just kind of lays down on its haunches inside of the wagon.
I don't think it minds being here. I don't think it's a prisoner or anything. It seemed like it could understand me, but I don't think it can communicate. Perhaps it's time we present ourselves to the rightful owners of this land.
Let me try something. And Coffee will turn to the tiger. It'll be like, if you understand us, can you blink once for yes, twice for no?
I don't think you'll notice anything different about how it acts.
So I'll like kind of come up close to it again, like slowly, and I'll just look in and say, "We're gonna shut this back up and go inside. You don't mind being stuck here?" And I'll like throw it another piece of candy.
It gives out a roar. It's not like extremely loud, but it it like responds on some level.
All right, I'm gonna close the door then, and I will. I guess I'll look for the padlock wherever the hell it went during all this, and put it back on.
You do that. Are you just relocking it and everything?
Yeah, I'll just lock it back up like we didn't do that.
Lock back up Octavio's Carnivals of Wonders that seems to have a saber-toothed tiger clad in armor.
Is there like a gate to the fence that we like jumped or whatever to get back here?
I mean, effectively, there's something along those sorts, sure. I knew basically there's no reason that you guys are being kept out of this fenced-in area. So it can be anything from like a gate in that general area that you all were able to just like leap over. But basically, at this point, as level 5 adventurers, there's not much like inanimate like that that is just going to keep you out, which is the same stuff that keeps out like common folk. So I would say, yeah, it's probably like there's gated areas that you could go through, but basically, what are you looking for?
Oh, I was just trying to get an idea of what we're going to tell these people. So it's not like super sketch that we're like back here. We didn't like full on like break in. We could play it off like we were just cutting through.
I mean, you all are effectively breaking and entering, but for what it's worth, you can, depending on how you go about saying what you want to say, you guys have other ways of describing stuff, but basically being on their property on some level is still breaking and entering.
All right, sounds good. So I guess we'll just like go up to the building and see if we can figure out what's going on here.
Going up to it from within the actual gates, like you're just walking up to the back.
Yeah, still from inside here. Trying not to look like super shady, even though we're like clearly on someone's property.
Let me get a group perception from you. So as you approach from the back, you see there are still windows on the back side of this little. It's almost, oh man, I'm thinking of this as very much of like almost like a Western style of there's like a building on the east, a building on the west, and then you have like a large open area that's almost like a hall in between these two buildings. And as you approach from the back, you spot that there is an older man who seems to be like walking back and forth, and he's carrying different things around. The closer you get, the more you are able to understand that he seems to be stocking shelves. And perhaps like one of these sides is his living quarters, and one of these sides is like a storage area for like the overhead of his business. But you guys are kind of coming up against like a single layer section where it's like a large, almost like a veranda of like a porch on this backside, the actual like windowed area. And then you guys have walked past this on the opposite side and seen that there's a porch. It's pretty much like a mirror on each side, like both outside as well as inside. Almost like a Cracker Barrel as you walk up to it, like how the porch is set up. It's got like rocking chairs and things on it. So as you're walking up to the back of it, you see signs that this older man is stocking, and he seems to be carrying things from the eastern part and pretty regularly is kind of just passing by. But there are doors, effectively a set of double doors in the center of all of this. And the closer you get, the more you see that there seems to be a couple of like display cases that flank those doors. And then like there's like a filled selection of different adventuring gear throughout this little area. But you all can approach how you would like as you get closer to those double doors.
Lee's going to go shopping, I guess.
Sarkis will just go full like old man style and be like using his staff as a cane and just like slowly walking up, looking all decrepit.
So y'all are just walking in?
Yeah, just walking up like nonchalant. Like greet him as we come in.
As you all walk in and you say something, in just a moment of fright, he drops like everything in his hands, and you just hear like a rattle and a clanking as all of these things just fall out. And he just has like he had like a large box of like pythons in his hand, and the metal just kind of flies everywhere. And he looks and he's just, what, why, what? Hello? What's going on?
Oh, sorry there, friend. Didn't mean to surprise you. And Sarkis will like come over and start helping him like pick up the pythons.
Thank you. I was just closing up for the night. Lady and I have to get to bed. It's almost 5:30. Is there anything else? Why were you out back?
Tell you the truth, we've been in this place for some time yet, and didn't actually realize this was a shop. We were sort of taking a shortcut through your back door there, trying not to get noticed, and well, we saw the wagon and saw you and what's going on in here, and figured we would try to get to the bottom of it.
Saw the wagon. I don't have any wagons for sale.
Rictavio's Carnival of Wonders. It made us think of something. Fortune that we were told about from the Vistani.
There's no Vistani here. Tavio's Wagon of Wonders. The young man paid me quite handsomely for the storage fees of that. He's paid up for quite a while.
When is the last time you saw this man, and do you know who he is or where he's from?
Don't ask too many questions around here. Most people arrive through the mist through ill-gotten means. It's not always good to know. Think he's still staying at the Blue Water Inn, but that's before everything went down with Lady Wachter, so whether he's still there or not is... But he paid up for a while, so it's going to be a while till I can make any claim on the wagon where it would be mine to sell.
Can you describe this gentleman? How long ago was this? Are you aware there's something living in there?
Comes by, I thought just to have his lunches here. But I don't ask questions. Doesn't pay to ask questions around here. But probably about 2 days since he's been here. probably right before, so maybe that doesn't bode well for him. But
What was his name, if you recall, sir?
hmm, Octavio, Rotavio, or remember his horse? He was riding on it. Gave me a funny name, but it wasn't Rotavio. Or
Good sir, he wouldn't have happened to have been a performer, would he?
I believe he had a lute with him. I'm pretty sure he was playing the lute. Seemed a little skilled on it, but he didn't really play anything while we were here. He just played while he rode off that day. Orlando.
Sarkis will look over at the party while he says that. I guess as he says Orlando, and you'll see his eyes get really big. Hiding in plain sight.
Almost as if he's been there the whole time.
A great warrior. No, can't be. He's a bard.
Tommy takes offense to that.
No wonder he didn't want to leave. Perhaps he's more powerful than we are, and he was just being modest. Anyway, sir, what's your name? I'm Sarkis, and I'm getting ready for bed myself as well. Looks like we've got quite a bit in common. We're here now.
Gunther Arasek, this is my stockyard here, Arasek Stockyard. We've got everything you might care for under the sky.
We may need some supplies. You appear to be amply stocked here. Mind if we have a look around?
Oh no, whatever you might need, we've got for you. Just don't hesitate to ask. So inside of Arasek's stockyards, you all can find anything inside of the player's handbook that is less than 25 gold from the adventure and gear table, and it is at 5 times the price. And just as a bit of meta knowledge, if you are thinking about trying to not buy something hoping that you'll find it cheaper, everything inside of Rovi is 5 times the price.
Damn it, how do I only have 6 gold? Do we have more money than that, or are we super poor?
I think you all are probably still super poor.
Tommy came into this game flat as broke.
I thought we found some money somewhere recently. Oh wait, didn't we get paid by what's his name? I think maybe I didn't put it on my list.
Who were you thinking?
Oh, from Davian. I think he paid us with 20 silver and 20 electrum. Does that sound right?
I overall have no clue about that. You guys might. I feel like he gave you some loot, but I'm not sure how much.
Yeah, I wrote down 20 silver and 20 electrum. Next to. Okay, so this is what I wrote down. You can tell me what's going on here. I wrote down $250 each, a locket, 2 rings, and a raven brooch. That was our payment from Davian.
Yeah, I have written down 4 pieces silver worth 25 gold, a ring, a raven brooch.
Oh yeah. Sorry, I didn't realize that was part of it. It says 4x silver, $250 each. So yeah, that must have been what it was. He gave us 4 silver trinkets or something like that, worth 250 gold each.
No. 250 silver is 25 gold. They are 25 gold worth of silver objects. So, like, all 4 of them are worth 25 gold for a total of 100 gold. But they are all worth 250 silver, which is what converts to the 25 gold.
Oh, okay. I just put a dollar sign. So when I put 4 silver, worth $250. But I get it.
Yeah, and I
250.
think he gave you 20 silver pieces at that occasion. So you all might have split up the 5 silver apiece. I feel like that was when you still had, you still would have had Vox with you.
Yeah. He gave us 20 silver, 20 electrum. What are electrum worth?
I did not keep that down. Electrum, I feel like, is the 2 gold per. Are you sure the Electrum wasn't stealing from the chest in that occasion?
Oh yeah, for sure. We didn't steal anything. Yeah, it's all written down right in the same spot from what he paid us. I have 20 silver, 20 electrum, 4 silver, dollar sign, 250 each. And then it says locket, 2 rings, and raven brooch, like as a subcategory for what the pieces of silver are. And then I have written down scroll work and 4 healing. But I didn't know what the scroll did, and I think we each took 1 healing potion.
Yeah, the scroll would have ended up on Vox. It was a paladin spell. And then it was 4 healing potions.
Okay. Let me look at the player's handbook really quick. I don't know what, if anything, I need to buy. All right, so I have 8 darts left, so I want to buy like 5 darts, and I have 5 rations left. So I guess get like 5. Wait, maybe 10 rations and 5 darts. You know what? Maybe I'll just get 10 rations and 10 darts. Sorry.
Wait, I don't think you can get the darts, though. He's not like a weaponsmith. He's just the adventuring gear table, which is just that one table. Yeah, like the ammunition that he would have are arrows, blowguns, crossbows, and sling. Bucket darts are 5 copper. Sure, he can have those. But in general, like, if I say adventuring gear, it's not weapon.
Lee's gonna purchase 10 rations.
So 10 rations is 50 gold. You guys see that, right? Oh, wait, no, my bad. It's 25 gold.
Yeah, but don't we eat like 3 rations a day minimum?
I think a ration in particular is enough for a day of 3 meals.
Well, if we're gonna go to the hill or whatever, I don't want to not have rations. So, yeah, all right. So I'll get 10 rations. I can get extra, and then I don't really need any gear or anything. So, whatever you guys want to get, I have enough to share. So, I will get. Yeah, I'm gonna get 10 darts then, and I will get 10 rations.
What
So-
page is the table on? I'm sorry. I don't have my glasses with me. They're out in the truck.
150 on the player's handbook.
Thanks.
I think the darts are going to be 2.5 silver. I think that one's pretty straightforward. 5 silver. No, wait. 5 silver. So it'll be 2.5 gold for the darts.
Okay.
And then I think each ration is going to be 2.5 gold. So you guys can calculate that how it goes. But a ration is a day's worth of food.
Okay, so 25 gold for 10 rations, right?
So he'll collect everything up as you all start to bring forward the coin and start to like wrap the different things in like a parchment paper to kind of like hand the darts over to you, like wrapped in a little parchment paper, like gift wrapped almost kind of set up. And then he'll like wrap each of the like ration packets in like groups of 5 inside of parchment paper and kind of like pass them over the counter to you. And you see as he's like calculating and doing everything, but it seems getting a little bit more excited as there's actually coin being deposited into his coffer.
All right, I put 5 rations on me, so Flea, you can put the other 5 on you, or Kavi, or whoever. And then one of you guys deduct a one of the electrum that you should have. We should each have 5 electrum and 5 silver from that reward. So just one each get electrum.
Okay, I want to pick up an additional 5 rations also.
So that's going to be 12 gold and 5 silver. And as you all are passing the last bit of coin from the front door, it's going to open, and you're going to see as Orlando walks into the Arrest stockyard. And he'll kind of look around and, oh, fancy seeing you all here. Out and about still?
Yes, we stumbled upon some interesting things that delayed us and decided we would restock as well. Found out some interesting things about you, Orlando.
Stumbled on some things indeed. I got that understanding myself.
Quite the pet.
Gunther, if you don't mind, I'm going to head to the back. And you'll see as he kind of like nods over to Orlando. And as he kind of walks through, you'll see Orlando has like a little bundle under one of his arms. And we'll walk past and kind of just like do the come hither finger as he walks past you all. And he'll head out of the back and head towards his wagon.
I'm gonna look back at the party, and then I'll give him like the head nod, and then I will scurry out after Orlando.
After you all have left the stockyard and effectively moved away from Gunther's presence, he'll kind of start to look over his shoulder a little bit as he speaks to you, and he's breaking into places where you don't belong.
Well, we were taking a shortcut and stumbled across fate, so to speak, and well, it's no surprise to you that have you visited Madame Ava before?
I'm familiar enough with her.
She read our fortune when we visited her, and I think she meant for us to get up with you. She spoke of a great warrior hiding in plain sight with a wagon of wonders who brings joy. She spoke of items in this warrior's camp and an item that could aid us against the devil. I had no idea it was you, Orlando.
Hmm. I'm not necessarily forward giving of my aid. Can be pretty dangerous to keep my company. But no, go ahead. What were you thinking, little one?
I don't suppose it's much benefit to disclose all your secrets, so I don't blame you. But I'm glad that we found you as a ally that we can trust before fate presented itself.
I think it is simple enough to understand that I can help you. I believe I have the object that you have in mind. I wonder if it will be safe in your keeping. But, well, and he'll kind of look over you all and take a moment to any of you serve gods, even those of other lands?
Like by choice, or do you mean did we make a dark pact since we came here?
Well, that may be more unfortunate. And as you get to the wagon, he'll take a moment to kind of just wave his hand over the lock, and the lock will just open for him. And he's going to open up the door. No sound from inside from the cat. It doesn't even budge. And as he gives it little bits of scruffles, he pulls the package out from under his arm. And as he unwraps it, you see that he's got like a 3-pound cut of wolf meat. And he just throws it inside for the cat. And you see as he kind of steps up next to it and says, "Give me one moment." And he'll kind of disappear inside. You'll hear like little bumping and crashes as he kind of goes through it. And after a few moments, he'll pop back out from the little entrance doors, close them behind him, but he doesn't yet lock them. And he's going to sit down on the little front stoop in front of the doors that you all had opened earlier. And as he kind of sits down, you'll see that he seems to have like a silver, maybe platinum circular object in his hands. I think you'll find yourselves incapable of operating it. Perhaps Madame Eva saw you with others who had more potential. Or perhaps she didn't see what you would lose here.
What is it?
And like as a shadow kind of like falls over him, he just kind of drops his head into his chest, and as he reaches out an object towards you, it's like a 8-pronged star with like a ruby red center to it, and it's on a very light but quite strong chain, and the object seems to have heft. It seems to be quite valuable, but it doesn't seem to react to your presence, and you just kind of hold like a large pendant in your hand.
Hmm. Looks intricate, valuable, but what purpose does it serve or supposed to?
It's supposed to serve a holy one who will one day stand up to the Lord of these lands, and perhaps end him. The writing I was able to come across named it a holy symbol of Ravenkind.
And where did you come across this?
I have been hunting things for a long time. Finding isn't always the problem with trying to end evil.
Have you ever battled Strahd?
I've hunted the devil for quite some time, and I have my reasons. But I've long been cursed that those I am too close to suffer for what my actions bring about. And I don't believe the devil can be defeated just one against one. This is a fight that requires friends, as he'll look over all of you.
Well, we most certainly consider you a friend, but I don't think we're up to that task anytime soon. I'm not sure this item would be of any use to me. I can't speak for anyone else, but never been much for holy things.
YouTube, your gods, do you serve them diligently?
He's just going to lower his head.
I've never served one ever.
Well, I think that's enough to tell me that perhaps the Vistani was wrong, as they are wont to be. And he's going to step back up into the wagon. Taking the object back, he's going to step back up into the wagon. And you'll hear as there's another bit of rustling. And he seems to step back out without it in his hands. And he's just going to lock things back up. Perhaps we should be on our way.
Indeed, we've wasted quite a bit of time already, but perhaps it wasn't a waste. So outside of game, do the cards affect who was with us at the time? Is that what the issue is, or is this just part of the thematic of it?
That in particular requires a cleric or a paladin. And
like
then
if we didn't have a cleric or paladin at the time, would that have affected what card we got?
No. The whatever that is, the third or the fourth card is that item. And it basically insists that there is a cleric or a paladin in this campaign. Otherwise, nobody can use it. And in particular, they also have to have a very particular alignment as well to use it. When I came across this item with my cleric, I could not use it.
I got you. I was just curious if it was because we lost players from the campaign or if it was just randomly like that. I got you.
No, like having all of the items that are in the prophecy helps. But in general, having the items helps. It's just a matter of how much help you have as you get to the final battle or when you choose to encounter the final battle. That determines a lot of things. But in the long run, depending on how you go about things, you don't necessarily need any of it, whereas you don't necessarily not need any of it either. It's all just degrees of how much it helps. And then I think in particular as well, this is realistically the only item that's like foreshadowed that requires a specific alignment kind of thing.
May I ask what alignment?
For now, you can ask, but I won't give an answer.
Yeah, don't tell us just in case somebody dies and makes a paladin or a cleric. We don't have like insider information.
Yeah, that's more or less where I sit on it. The three of you cannot use that item. You will never be able to use it effectively. But it is one of those things where at some point it behooves the group to have a cleric or a paladin. And that's just one of those things where, in general, you like it to happen naturally. Depending on how things goes as the campaign progresses, we'll see how things actually boil out.
We appreciate the offer, Orlando, and nice to have a little more information about you and perhaps one of our loose ends tied up, so to speak. But I think at this point in time, we need to proceed to see Vasili. Would you care to join us?
I think I'll keep up what I've been doing and return to the Mardikovs. If you must go visit him, do so. But I will be returning with haste and the best to you all. And he'll kind of nod his head.
Before you go, I Don't mean to tell you how to take care of your animals, but you really do need to spend a little more time with them. They're pretty lonely.
I assure you, there's plenty cause for the sacrifices we must all make.
Oh, and what's the tiger's name? I don't want to guess this time.
I can't even say it without smiling. I can't do it. He'll look back at you. He answers to a nickname most often, but I've come to call him for quite some time now. Frodo.
Interesting name. Frodo and Gimli.
Yes. His first name is Baggins. He's never answered quite well to it.
Interesting. Well, we'll be on our way then.
So as he heads off to the west, and as you all turn to the east, you are going to see a odd sight in the sky, as it seems like there is a burning ball of fire some few hundred feet off, and moment by moment it seems to approach closer and closer to you all.
Do we feel like impending danger? Or
It seems to be approaching you, and it is fire, so depending on your thoughts on fire, there's probably impending danger.
we should run? Does it look like it's coming like from space? Or does it look like it was like a catapult launched like a fireball at us? Does it look
Roll
like
perception. I think a catapult launched a ball of fire at you is a pretty good way to first perceive this. And as it approaches closer, it seems to be responding to your movement. And as you notice a little bit more, it seems to be a horse with a rider on it, and its mane is on fire. And as you all run towards the west, or towards the east, you see, as it appears, that Strahd is riding upon this jet black horse with brilliant orange and yellow mane that just burns with fire. And as it consumes the oxygen around him, the fire just gushes out to the sides, and its hooves burn. Everything about this creature just burns until it lands before you. And while it still maintains some level of burning, you do notice at least a little bit of the fact that the speed at which it moves, it seems to burn more brilliantly. But Strahd lands before you all, looks over you and says, "Hello. Seems you are onto something precious."
onto something precious? I'll like pull out my little package of darts. I don't think the rations are going to do you much good. Care to elaborate?
Please, do not pretend that I am a fool. Be wary the actions that you take. You tread on dangerous grounds while you try to uncover such wishes of the Vistani. Is that it? Is that where he keeps it? And he's going to nod his head towards the wagon.
Just sort of look up at him confused. Who are you looking for? I'm confused. You seem to know and see things, and yet still question us, and we know and see very little. Matter of fact, we barely know what the hell we're doing.
I know and I see many things. This is my land, and I am its lord. But that does not mean I still do not require the joy of corruption. You have found the amulet, and the hunter hides it within the wagon. I have seen these things. Why would you hide that from me? Kavi, Flea, what are you two doing right now?
I'm just listening.
Tommy's listening but staying silent this time.
I don't understand. You seem to need our help often, yet seem to always know what it is you ask us to help you with. So, do you see through our eyes, or are I don't understand you or your magic? What is it that you want from us?
Have you already forgotten that I desire for one of you to take my place as the Dark Lord? You still stand as if you have high ground from which you look over Barovia. And I remember these feelings. But I assure you, your evil is already growing. And he'll stare into Kavi's eyes.
She just averts his gaze, looking at her feet.
If you insist on not entertaining me, perhaps I will have to give up entertaining you. And it would be most disappointing if we had to meet each other as enemies instead of friends. How I do enjoy our friendship.
Oh, enemies we are not and never want to be.
Then why do you hide the amulet from me?
Do not hide it, the hunter hides it. You know where it is and what guards it.
The cat means nothing to me.
Well, he wanted to eat me earlier. And Sarkis.
How high you could fly, would you only give in to the power that is there for the taking. Tell me, little herder, do you still consider us friends? Would you help me again?
I suppose I consider you as much a friend as you consider me.
Then why do you hide it from me? Does it serve you any good?
I hide nothing, nor do I desire anything. I only exist in this land, looking for answers, a way out, meaning to all these questions, all this mystery.
I have offered you a way out. I have offered you meaning. Richtofen will offer you nothing but death. He is cursed in oh too similar of a way as my own. He means little more than death to those who would hunt with him. And you, Kavi, so recently brought back from the dead, would you really find that once more to hide an object that has no taste for you? It serves you no good.
What you're asking for is an item we don't possess. He has it back in the carriage.
And yet you hid it from me. You all knew what I was asking for the moment I arrived.
Why do you want this so bad? And what is it? What meaning is it to you? It's no meaning to us. Why would we hide it from you? We care not. It's not in my nature to disclose others' business.
Roll a deception check. Know this. Richtofen is my plaything. If you intend to ally yourself with him, there will be little more than death for you who might join him. And death in this land can be much more than a blank darkness. For now, I will leave this thing, but I assure you, the next person to touch it will have my wrath. And will be my enemy forthwith. The amulet belongs to my mother, and it should be in the Vanzarovich crypts. To have one such as Richtofen possess it is a crime against the Lord of Barovia. So take your time to consider whether you are for or against the Lord of Barovia. before you ever approach this place again. And he's going to ride over to the wagon, and you'll see as he actually rides within, like rides through the wall of the wagon, and there's going to be a roar that is cut short, and then silence.
I believe the kitty had a bad day.
And then a moment later, you'll see as he rides back out from within the wagon, like you would have been able to see the actual hooves of the nightmare while he rode inside of it. But after a moment, he'll ride back out of the wagon, and he'll look back on you all again. It's disappointing when one must wonder whether their friends are true to their words, or are there crossing paths with your enemy. And he's going to start to gallop away, and you'll see like each drop of the hooves as the nightmare gains more and more speed. It's going to step higher and higher into the air before it once again is clearly flying, and it would seem that Strahd is riding off into the sky.
Camille said our breath she didn't know she was holding.
I hope you two never have any of my secrets. Be afraid that you'll reveal them with little persuasion.
I believe we should move on.
Did this all happen like within time that Rictavio would have seen this, or is it like after he was gone?
He would have left, but it was pretty close to when he was like leaping over the fences.
Perhaps we should let him know what happened. Perhaps you're right, Flea. We should just move on. I'm sure he'll figure it out before long.
I believe so.
Where would you all like to head?
I keep moving to where we were going.
Continue to Vasilis.
Correct. With stealth.
So you all can hop outside of the Arisek stockyards and do another stealth check as you approach another street that kind of backs up into that area. And there is a larger estate kind of across the street from where you will jump. Can you roll a stealth check for me, Circus?
Oh yeah, my bad. I wasn't looking.
Yeah, so you all see like a little bit more increased activity along these areas, but you are able to avoid a group of folk who are dressed in like all black robes as they seem to be passing by and heading down to the west-southwest area, effectively like leaving to that main street of Old Svalich Road that cuts through Vallaki. But you are able to pass into the next little field and pretty easily make it to the back lot of Vasili's place. You can try to approach one of there's back doors, there's front doors, side doors. You guys can approach where you would like. When you previously went in, you went in through a front door.
Which door is the most undercover?
Like least likely to be seen by anyone?
Correct.
Can go through a back door.
Let's go knock to the back door.
And you said you'd like to knock?
Yes.
Do a performance check. Head up to the door, walk out onto the like actual like back landing, head up to the door and get a good knock on it. Wait a few moments. Doesn't seem to be a response.
He was expecting us. Maybe we should go through the front?
Let's go.
Does it look like there's like any candles through the windows?
Roll a perception. Looking around, you do see signs that there are lit candles in some of the different rooms in the house, but it's not entirely lit up. There are also different rooms that seem to be in darkness. Let me get a stealth check as you all head to the front door. And what would you like to do when you arrive at the front door?
Wasn't there a knocker? I can't remember when we came before.
Makes sense that there would be, but I don't have my notes from last time.
Oh,
I mean, I could look it up, but like,
Time to go. Can I try the handle to see if it's open?
go for it. Do a strength check. To go to open the door, you just kind of like thump into it a little bit as it seems to be locked.
It appears to be locked. I don't want to yell out too loud, but can I just kind of like tap my staff on the door like 3 times?
Tap on the door. Doesn't seem to be a response. Do a performance check. What would you all care to do?
Should I pick the lock?
Avi said she saw some candles inside. He must be home. Maybe he's indisposed at the moment. I'm not sure we should just break in.
I'm going to knock on the door again.
Roll another performance. Knock on the door. Doesn't seem to be a response. Seems like nobody's home, but maybe candles are still lit. Looking around the streets, there are people who seem to be wandering around the streets still. A lot of them in groups of 2 and 3. Most of them seem to be wearing black cloaks at this point, so you guys aren't necessarily drawing attention at this point. but you do notice pretty quickly that it would seem most of the people who are moseying around town right now are all cloaked in black.
I'm going to quietly whisper, I think we should return to the back door and we enter that way.
The people that are cloaked in black, are they like full on like covered heads, like hooded, or are they just like all wearing like black now? Does it look like they're wearing like matching clothing, I guess is my question? Like full on cultist style?
Roll a perception. Yeah, as you kind of look over it, there's not too many who don't seem to have their hoods up. And by up, I mean like well over their face, so there's actually like a black void inside of the hood itself. And those who seem to have their hood less up, it's still over much of their skull, and some of their face comes out. But you pretty quickly gather that, yeah, this seems to be very different from the Vallaki you've experienced before, and it feels cultish.
And when we saw Vasili earlier, was he in black or was he like in normal clothes still or whatever we saw him in last time?
He was dressed normally.
We're gonna blend in around here. Perhaps we need to get some different attire. We're either gonna have to sneak back somewhere else or find a way in. What do you guys think?
Let's go to the back door and pick it. If you want robes, let's just waylay a group of 3.
We can at least go over there and discuss it so we're not here in the open.
So heading to the back door to try to pick the lock.
What do you guys think?
He was expecting us, but I don't know if it's the best idea to just let ourselves in.
So are you still standing on the front doorstep?
I believe he walked out of main view, what he said.
Yeah, I think we were going out back to discuss it. So I guess we would be at the back main doorstep or whatever.
All right. So yeah, while you all are back there, Vasili is going to ride up on his horse and head towards the stable, where he will look across to you all and say, "Oh, my friends! I was not sure that you were going to come join me this evening. It's a pleasure. My apologies. I hope I have not left you waiting."
Oh no, we only just got here a moment ago. We were curious if we just weren't knocking loud enough, or we're trying to stay out of sight.
My apologies. It is a most grievous shame when friends leave each other wanting. And he's going to walk up to the back door and open the knob and pull open the door and invite you all in. Please, come in. We will enjoy ourselves.
I'll just like look at them and then shrug my shoulders and walk up.
Tommy follows and gives a nod of thanks.
I did not foresee having circumstances change where I had places to be and people to see. But alas, there is a lot happening in Vallaki this evening. And as you all enter, kind of have a long hallway that is facing you, and you can walk in, and you'll see that there is like a small like sitting room, like almost like a mud room, at the back of the house here, and it is attached to a kitchen on like your left. And as you look down the hallway, you see the same like entertaining sitting room that he brought you into last time, and you all can walk forward. And if you approach that sitting room, you will see, as you get closer to it, that the grand staircase, the like double stairs, eventually are on your left. And there's a few doors along the right, like 3 doors along the right as you walk forward. And he kind of just ushers you towards that other sitting room. And once you all enter and kind of seat yourselves, he'll look to excuse himself and, if you excuse me for a few moments, I can bring forth some food for our enjoyment. Perhaps you are all famished and require nourishment for the evening.
Yes, sir. Can I help you?
It is not the way of a host to make a guest do any sort of labor. If you would enjoy yourselves, you are most welcome to be seated, and I will be but a few moments before I return.
Vasili, before you go, and I'll run up to him, and I'm gonna reach out my hand and try to like grab his hand.
Make a dexterity check.
And I want to say something to him as I do.
What are you saying?
I have to warn you, Strahd paid us a visit only moments ago, and he appears to know or see whatever we do. We don't want to put you in danger.
As you go to reach out for him, he's going to just kind of like move to the side and almost with his hands like cradle your person. Like he'll kind of grab you from like the front and the back of the chest, and he'll kind of just like move you to the side as he's like stepping, so he doesn't like step into you. And as he kind of steps past you and almost does like a little quick dance move to move you to that side point, he just kind of responds, "That, I guess, does not surprise me. The devil has many ways to keep track of his land. It is his domain. We shouldn't be too shocked. Did you earn his ire? Are we in danger?"
Somewhere in between. I'm not sure that we're in danger, but perhaps he's just slightly less friendly. More like yours and Madame Walker's relationship, as you described it. Cordial enemies.
Well, I hope if any issues come about, perhaps you would be understanding if I were to entertain him in a very similar fashion, so he is not offended. I find that the duties of a diplomat often include being kind and friendly to those who you do not always agree with. And while we may not always be happy with those choices, we can always do everything we can to try to bring about the most ideal of circumstances in the end. But please, I will not be long. I will grab some wine, bring us some snacks, and I'll be back in just a moment.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you. I just wanted to let you know.
I appreciate you letting me know. It is nice when friends do not hesitate to tell each other the dangerous things, the important things that they do know. So thank you, little Sarkis. And he's going to walk back down the same hall, and you'll see as he pops now to the right, basically towards that kitchen. And then, if you all have nothing to say while you feel like you might be in private, he'll return with a couple of bottles of wine under one of his arms, and 4 wine glasses in that hand. And then in the other hand, he'll have like a platter, and then like another platter kind of set on his actual arm. And he'll just kind of walk inside, and he'll set down the first platter, and with like a quick little movement of his arm, he shuffles the second platter down towards his hand, where he'll set that down onto the table. And it's all just kind of like cut cold meats, and different things like olives and like some vegetables, basically set out in like spirals. And then he will take out each of the wine bottles from under his arm. Setting down the glasses, he will start to pour everybody wine, and then seat himself at the end of the table, enjoying some of the wine himself.
Gracious host, thank you, my friend. I am curious, though, not to always talk business, but what is your relationship to Strahd?
Before Lord Barov came to these lands, my family was among the nobility, along with the Valakovich line and the Wachters. We are 3 of the oldest families here. My relationship for the longest time has been as a servant, and where possible, I try to be as unseen as I might find myself.
I'm not sure exactly how time works in this place, but you're from here. How old are you, Vasili?
My family has been here for this time. My family has always served the same purpose here. We have been little more than nobility in a land where the nobles have been disenfranchised. But that does not mean that I have to lose the privileges. I still find myself quite welcome in Barovia as well as Krask, and obviously I still keep the estate in Vallaki.
So, would you say you're the same age as me, or closer to Kavi's age?
I believe I have been in this land for 50 calendars. We do not always, without the sun, it can be a lot to keep track of time. But we do what we can with the moon, and I think I am close to 50 years old.
Like when I look at him, does he look like he's 50 years old? I'm trying to figure out what's going on here.
No, he looks well for a 50-year-old. His hair doesn't seem to be graying or anything, but he does seem to have plenty of reason to claim to be 50. You can roll an insight check, though. You guys have to ask questions if you want to get insight checks. Like, you can't just insight check when Sarkis is asking questions.
Oh, I thought you asked for a group. Sorry.
Yeah, he's got holes in his story, and there's definitely reasons to doubt that he's a 50-year-old man, but he also makes the claim that he doesn't even really know how old he is. So there's little bits that kind of like swing both ways on that pendulum of believability and not. But I think at this point you guys have plenty of reason to question everything that Vasili says. And I don't think that would hurt that thought.
But Vasili for sure drinks wine, like the same wine that we're drinking.
Yep, Vasili's drinking with you right now.
And we know for sure that, with the exception of the one living potential bride, that none of like Strahd and his brides drank wine. They all drank like blood, right?
They didn't drink in your presence.
Okay, you said they just swirled their glass. That's what it was. But they never actually like drink.
Yeah, I missed that part. They were supposed to be drinking blood in those scenes, but yeah, they sat there and they swirled their glasses.
Yeah, I feel like you corrected it afterwards, but regardless, so we definitely get the impression that he is not a vampire or something like that. But there's something maybe inhuman about him that we don't really fully grasp. Is that a safe assumption?
There's certainly reasons to doubt Vasili.
Okay. But there's... Okay, I got you. But it's not blatantly obvious.
Like,
And
he
also-
still avoided touching your hand when you reached out to, like, grab his hand there.
I did touch him one time. The first time I touched him. And you said I felt a pulse. So he's definitely still alive. That was the first time we ever met him. I felt his hand, or I held his hand, and I felt for a pulse, and you said I felt one. So he's definitely alive.
I will have to return to that thought because, in a very meta way, you probably should not have felt a pulse, and I don't know why I would have made that mistake.
Okay. Yeah.
So that's a very meta thing to say, but if that's a mistake. Like, this is again super, super, super meta. So you guys need to not act on this because that is a mistake on my part. But if Vasili was somebody that you felt a pulse from, there never should have been a question for me to make that mistake. I might have worded it in a way that you felt a pulse, but like it was more like I was going for the wording that like your intention to feel a pulse was why you felt a pulse. So it's really hard to say how I would have said it without me going back to that episode and trying to listen to it and listen for the subtlety. Because that's about all I can kind of say without giving up even way more than just saying that it's too fucking meta to talk about.
The first time we met him, I got sketched out by the way he invited us inside to his place. And that's when I said I was going to try to touch his hand for the first time and see if I felt the pulse. And I rolled high, and I'm pretty sure you said I felt the pulse.
Well, that's why I say talking about it is fine, but without listening to the subtlety, I don't know the subtlety of what my response was. And I feel like I wouldn't have made that mistake because once this meta knowledge is known, it's not surprising why I should have never made the mistake of saying that Vasili has a pulse. Which,
Well, I'm just
again,
saying,
is
I
too
felt-
meta.
I felt sketched out from him a bunch of times since then.
And
So-
you guys should feel sketched out from Vasili.
I got you. But okay, well all right, that's fine. It doesn't really change anything about how I feel because I've always felt like he was super sketch. But okay, that's fine. I just wanted to clarify that point, whether or not that was correct or if that was a mistake on one of our parts. So okay, that's fine. We can continue on regular. But he talks obviously like Strahd, like everybody does. But I don't get the impression that he is Strahd, do I?
Strahd, Vasili, and Rahadin have the heaviest of the Barovian accents that you guys would cross. But they all have very Barovian accents that most of the people that you come across in this land have.
Okay, I got you. The only reason I felt kind of sketchy is because he rode up right after we just saw Strahd, and we saw him right before we just saw Strahd, and he like somewhat knew that we were like coming here, so it made me think like there was something going on there. But yeah, that's fine. That's fine. We can keep going.
Yeah, I mean, in the long run, like, do you all have any other questions for Vasili?
I don't right now.
So yeah, I mean, if you all are just looking to have a long night's rest, you can spend some time relaxing in the sitting room with Vasili, and he'll offer you the same bedrooms as he offered last time, and you guys can take a long rest. I think as far as things... Do you have something to say there, Al?
No, go for it.
I think as far as things go, it'd probably be like 6 or 6:30. So you would still have like some hours of downtime. I feel like you've been holding off trying to make something for a while, Sarkis.
Yeah, I'm gonna finish doing some leather work like before I go to bed tonight. I think I had probably like 4 or 5 hours left on it.
Yeah, so I think just do like a dexterity check and add your proficiency to it. What are you trying to do?
17. I'm just finishing up the book cover that I was making, like the journal cover.
Yeah, I think overall you'd be plenty good to make the journal.
I think it's hilarious. We like didn't sleep for so long, and then we finally slept, and now we slept again like right away.
You guys chose not to sleep so often. Strahd offered you a place to nap, and you guys like, nope, we gotta go. So you all can benefit from a long rest. The next morning will come about. You all can wake up and start to congregate. As you do, find yourselves waking up the next day. There's already food set out in that sitting room. There's bottles of wine as well as water set out as well.
Avi, how many more long rests do you need now?
2 more?
I believe it's 2.
Slowly but surely. Well, I guess like once it's like breakfast time or whatever, whenever Kavi comes down, I have a gift for her.
I would say Kavi's probably the second one awake and already downstairs, drinking some water.
Okay, perfect. When Starkus walks downstairs, he'll have like his staff in one hand, cane style, and his other hand behind his back, and he'll approach you. Uh, Kavi, I started working on something a while back for you, a gift, and then after everything that transpired, I considered not finishing it, but I'm glad you're back. It's nothing really, but and then he'll reach out and hand you a leather bound journal, and on the front of the journal, it'll be a picture of uh, what appears to be a tiefling bard, sort of like skipping with a drum, and in the background, it'll just be like a sun in the sky, and it will just overall have like sort of a cheery undertone to it.
Kavi takes the journal, looking it over, flipping through the pages, and she just like holds it to her chest, and she's like, "I've never had a present before. Thank you."
Of course, Kavi, it's the least I could do. I knew how much your journal meant to you, and you gave it you gave it up and saved us. So just wanted to say thank you, and we're glad you're back. Very glad. And he'll like hug you.
She's a she's a little startled by the hug, but she returns it.
All right. I don't want to make you feel awkward. Glad you're back, Kavi, and I know Fleece feels the same way too. And even though Fox and the others have come and gone, we're we're glad you're back.
It's really good to be back.
Good. Now let's have some breakfast.
You'll find it's many of the same pastries as the first night when you arrived at Vasili's. And it's a lot of things like that, and it's not really like as many like savory things as the night before. But there's plenty of different options here, and you all can enjoy yourselves. It's not long before Vasili joins you all, and takes a few moments before he sits, starts to eat himself, and looks over and questions. Have you all thought more? Do you intend to head for Kresk this day, or have you made more plans?
First, sir, thank you for your hospitality, and you set a wonderful table. We're still deciding.
It is the duty of a noble to take care of those who are without. I take great pleasure in my duties, both entertaining as well as being entertained when I myself am traveling.
Yes, indeed. Appreciate the hospitality. These pastries are mighty fine, but no, not crust just yet. Believe we're headed to the hills. The druids? We're going after the druids. Mean to put an end to them once and for all.
I'll look at you a little bit perplexed. You have something against our wild folk?
Oh no, I don't mind wild folk. It's those damn druids.
Oh, well, they are the ones who came before. But they are one and the same. Well, what problem do you have with the druids?
We've just been hired to clear out the Wizard of Wines, is what it is.
Oh, the Wizard of Wines is in danger.
Well, it's destroyed by now, and unfortunately, we weren't able to save it, so we're tasked with finishing the job and eliminating the druids. Wait, right, did I say that right? Didn't they already destroy the Wizard of Wines?
It was essentially under siege when you guys got there last. He's going to take the bottle of wine that's sitting on the table, and he's just going to move it a little bit closer to himself. The Wizard of Wines has been destroyed. That is one of the oldest families in all of Barovia.
Yes, I honestly assumed or presumed that you knew, and that's why you were looking for the Mardikovs. They were chased out by the wild folk, and giant tree sprouted up in the building, and it was destroyed. We were not strong enough to save it, so we have to finish the job and head to the hills and tie up the loose ends, so to speak.
I was certainly hopeful that I might be able to find them well when I was visiting the inn, but I was not aware that their home had been destroyed. It's most unfortunate. Hopefully, Lady Wachter keeps herself under control and does not harm. Perhaps it is her sons that have kept it safe now, and it will be safe to the future. But it does not bode well for Barovia if we all lose our delicious vino.
Indeed, now I'm sure you share the same passion I have against the druids, or at least a hint of it.
You must understand, little one, it has always been my way to mediate the conflicts between two peoples. I may have little to do in Barovia, but that is the very nature of my position. I cannot say that I have much contact with the druids of this land, but I do know their people is an ancient people. And perhaps though we do not understand, nor do we share the culture together, we all can at least appreciate the many similarities that life in, and I'll kind of like raise his hand and just like with a frown on his face, life in this land tries our very nature. But it is early, and if you intend to travel, travel is best undertaken early in the morning. Do not let me keep you, but allow me at least the attempt to persuade you that maybe a blind hatred of the druids is not becoming one who looks to the more noble path in life.
Spoken like a true gentleman. It's the way of my people never to destroy something you cannot rebuild, and never to kill. And Sarkis will just get quiet.
And perhaps it would be good for you to keep that close to your heart. For otherwise you may find this land has been festering within that wound.
Do you know by chance what language the druids speak?
They speak an old language I am not knowledgeable about. I think if there were any chance to communicate with them, it would perhaps take long study in close association with them. I have heard many who have tried to approach situations such as this, and they start very simply with things that we all are familiar with. Food, love, children, the most basic things in life. And you start the conversation slowly. And maybe one day you can find words for things. But other than that, I have heard of spells that people can use to speak with others, but it is well beyond what I have ever learned.
Understood. I figured that they're ancient, and many of the people of this land are as well, so perhaps there was a bridge between cultures. But like you said, can't spend all day dilly-dallying around. Gotta get traveling, so we do appreciate it. And if you don't mind, I'd like to take a couple pastries along the way.
You are more than welcome to take the sweets that you would like. I think you might find, if you start a conversation with the druids, that you will find my people were the ones to have oppressed them in the same way that the devil has come to this land and oppressed much of Barovia. We all must wonder if it is not our own punishment to have a Dark Lord for having done what it is that we did in our own time. And perhaps the crimes of a father are always visited upon the son. So if that is it in the estate of Vasili Von Holtz, you all can head off and leave for the day.
I believe it is time to go.
To see the hill druids. Flea, do you know where we're going?
Nope.
Do we have enough of an idea or whatever? I guess at this point in time, do we have an actual map from somewhere?
I think we're still going on the pretense that you got a map from, I can't even remember his name now.
Okay. The very original town. So, do we have enough directions at this point in time to find the hill or whatever that we're going to?
I mean, you can get back to the Wizard of Wines. I think that actual plotted course wouldn't necessarily be there, But I think that's the difference of it might behoove you all to at least let the Mardikovs know.
Yeah, okay, I guess we could swing back through and do that interaction then, I guess. I mean, we need some further directions, I guess, right? Because they basically described to us, we know where the swamp is. That was where we had potential to get the one stone. And then they described to us where the hill was and where to get the second stone, theoretically.
To me.
So I think you all have a few different choices here. You can go back to the Blue Water Inn and actually speak to Mardikovs. Flea would know that when you all were heading to the Wizard of Wines, there was the actual sign in the road when you all were heading south that pointed to the west, where you actually headed west to the vineyard. And that there was the other trail that effectively continued on. And I don't think it would be absurd for him to make the connection that that might be the direction that you need to go. And then there is the fact that you all have seen the tree that came to destroy the Wizard of Wines, and that thing doesn't travel lightly. It's going to leave a trail that you can track. So you all have those options ahead of you. I don't think it's absurd for you all to make the connection that the actual large tree that assaulted the vineyard probably left a track for you. And also that there was at least some path that led on, that you guys might be able to assume that those are the paths that you need. But the Mardikovs would be, perhaps, it's information that you might still need. So it's up to you all how you want to progress there. But if you are trying to hide and help the Mardikovs, you also would recognize that every time you walk into the Blue Water Inn, you're on some way giving away like at least a little bit of attention to the fact that there are still people there.
Okay, I'll fill the group in on, what came from Keen Mind, and say I think there should be enough track to follow.
Ah, excellent. I used to have quite the keen mind of my own back in the day, but the years have worn heavily on it, and I'm just glad we have you here, Flea, to guide the way.
So as you all leave Vallaki, what entrance to the town would you intend on leaving from?
Uh,
Which one? Sorry.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I think we would try to just get out of town as quick as possible, and then after that, like, just take a sort of direct route.
So there's a certain level. My bad, I didn't see who else was going to speak, but if you have a thought.
Oh no, go ahead. Go ahead. Say what you were gonna say.
There's a certain level of, if you were trying to leave Vasilis, there is trying to go straight for the palisade and making your way over the palisade. Otherwise, leaving through the western gate. And then there are also effectively, I always forget these things, but the smaller gates to the town.
Oh yeah, I think if we could just head straight to the palisade and make it over that. I mean, if that's reasonable, I don't see any reason we wouldn't do that. I did lose my rope in the haunted house, but if somebody else has one, or if it's viable that we could get over it without.
I have rope.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, not having rope isn't going to slow you down getting over the palisade. But yeah, a single rope would be easy enough to, manage your way there. Having 2 ropes, it would be perfectly functional for you all to set a slip knot that you're able to like loosen with the second rope to be able to retrieve them both and get over the actual palisade itself. So give me a stealth check from you all. Kavi crushed it. It's time for the other 2 to fail miserably.
Who's my 2?
Oh, that's 1.
And there's the failure.
I think he rolled a total of like 9 or 10 on all of the stealth checks, like to get to Vasili's. Like she's got a +6, but I mean the actual die roll. It happened for sure. So yeah, y'all are able to make it out of the town itself, getting to the palisade. Do one more stealth check as you were going over the palisade. Damn, I fucking can't stop coughing right now. As you get over the palisade and you're making your way into the grassland on the opposite side of it, let's see, passive perception is Sarkis. Sarkis, you see a little glass jar on the like just side area, and it seems to have like a little twist top to it. And as you like look over at this thing, it seems to be filled with like a fat or like a lard. And on the outside of it, it says griffin grease.
Just like laying on the ground?
Just laying on the ground. Do you all intend to go north towards Lake Zarovich and back? Or would you like to go to the east towards Ravenloft and then go south?
I have a random question really quick. That's the 3rd time you've had me find something really weird and strange randomly. Is there any meaning to that, or is it just something random that happens?
That's effectively when a random encounter is for a random item. But yeah, it's just some random ass shit. So maybe I should make you all roll for that instead of just going to your passive perception.
Okay, I just wasn't sure because you had me find like a colorful bubble pipe not that long ago.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of weird shit, especially in Barovia, because of the Vistani. Like, the pipe that blows bubbles is meant to be like a children's toy that blows bubbles.
Okay, I got you. At least now I know what's going on. That's fine.
So do you want to cross to the north of the town and move to the west, or do you want to go to the east and then double back along the south?
I'm not a fan of doubling back.
Trust your judgment, Flea. Lead the way.
To the north we go.
So y'all have a pretty uneventful move. How close to those northern gates do you want to get as you go there? Do you want to cross back into the forest essentially the same way you came back?
We want to make sure we're out of sight of anybody in the town.
Yeah, probably stick to the tree line. Not worth getting spotted over something dumb.
Alright, give me another stealth check as you all try to cross from the trees north of Vallaki and south of Lake Zarovich. So as you all are moving out of the trees and making your way across kind of between all of the little hovels that are near Lake Zarovich, trying to make your way back into the tree line on the west side of this northern road. As you all get into the forest, you are very quickly surrounded by howls of wolves And it quickly becomes apparent that you've moved into the center of a pack of wolves. You don't currently see them, but you've heard howls from the north of you, from the south of you, and some close to the actual tree line to the east of you. What are you doing?
Should we try to
way out of this?
outrun them or prepare for an assault?
Evade.
Make stealth checks. Your initial movements, you feel pretty confident that you all are getting away from them at present. Another round of stealth checks. As you move forward, running back through the forest, you're coming close to where you battled the druids the day before, and you don't feel like you're getting any further away from the wolves at this point, but you start to gather that there seems to be 4 tracking you, and they seem to be communicating between each other with their howls to where you know that there's like 2 kind of north and following you, and 2 kind of south and following you as you all head off to the west. Continuing to run. If so, another stealth check from you.
They sound like they're getting closer.
I believe they're staying constant.
There's no way Key's going to beat that. So at that point, you feel pretty certain that they are nearly on you all. And at this point, you guys are effectively coming close to the point where fighting might be a certainty. What would you like to do?
Better just stand our ground than be run down, and we don't want to wear ourselves out so early. Let's stay. Fight them.
Let's fight.
And what is everybody holding their action on?
Holding an action? I guess,
Yeah, I mean, going off the idea that you guys were being chased by wolves, and you heard them, and you said, we're better off standing our ground. That to me tells me that you are stopping, getting in formation, and preparing to be attacked.
Yeah, that's-
Sorry.
Oh no, go ahead, please.
Yeah, no, Flea's pulling his bow, going for the closest one.
I will just, melee attack if anything comes within range of me. It's not Kavi or Flea.
How well can I gauge distance through sound?
Describe to me what would give you the ability to gauge distance through sound. You have great reason to describe it to me.
Yeah. Just great hearing.
You have a pretty solid sense that the wolves were within 30 or 40 feet when you've last heard them.
Alright, and they're still not visible yet?
That's correct.
Alright, once one of them is visible, she's going to cast Vicious Mockery.
I picture Kavi using like barred drum sonar, so she's like boom, 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 like waits for the echo to come back.
part of why I wanted her to describe what it was, because she knows what it is. So as you all hold your position, when you stop moving, you don't hear another howl, and the woods go silent. And it creates a eerie moment where you're just waiting for this to come, and you know it's there.
Marcus will just like squint his eyes and look into the distance. I know you're out there! Either leave us alone or fight!
So before you even realize it, there is a wolf on top of you already. And part of how this is going to play out is that they are effectively surprising you all. So when you go to hold your actions is actually when they are coming up with their attacks. So let's do the actions, but you all have disadvantage. So all three of you should be able to take that action, and they are at disadvantage. Vicious Mockery seems to have no effect, as the wolf doesn't seem to understand what you say. As you swing out your staff, it seems to dive underneath the swing, and it kind of gets low on its haunches as it starts to leap towards you, Sarkis. As it's dodging away from his staff, you are able to place a arrow into the wolf. Whenever you roll, if damage doesn't show up, please roll damage right away. It's going to leap out to try to bite Sarkis. 21 should hit, and it is going to deal 15 damage to you as it bites down and starts to pierce into you. Please make a strength saving throw. And as it bites down on you, you are going to be knocked down and knocked prone. Yeah, I don't think it can play out like a normal surprise round because you all knew it was coming. So you can take a normal turn here. That's definitely an awkward switch.
So wait, you saying you want me to go?
Oh, I did not hear that. Give me a second. Let me fix my headset. Alright, I think I should be good now. What were you trying to do, Circus?
So wait, are you saying you want me to go right now, just regular?
Yeah.
Okay, so you said I'm knocked down, and what was the other one? I'm grappled?
No, you're just prone.
Okay, so it's only one effect. I'm just prone right now?
Yeah. Wolves just have that effect. When a wolf hits you, like when a wolf bites at you, they have the chance to knock you prone.
I got you. Well, I'll just stand up, and then I will just attack him twice with my staff double-handed.
Yeah, so the first hit there is going to crack it. It's going to be severely bloodied, and that second hit will actually crush its skull as it falls to the ground lifeless.
And I'll just yell out, "Nice shot, Flea!"
Another is going to move in, and as it leaps at you, you're in the middle of doing dope-ass monk shit to the other wolf, and it is going to kind of leap beyond you and miss. And it will go to Kavi.
I'm just gonna use Vicious Mockery again.
Go for it. As the wolf like kind of crumbles in the air, it seems to like shriek as it just its ears seem to just be splitting. Another is going to run in and try to bite out at Sarkis. And as it grasps down onto your leg, it is going to do 22 piercing damage to you.
Ah! Sarkis falls unconscious.
Like bites into his femoral artery, and immediately Sarkis just starts to gush out blood. And then another is going to leap out, and at Kavi, it should hit with an 18,
Yes.
and is going to do 9 piercing damage as it bites into you. Make a strength saving throw. And after that, it's going to go to Flea. And yeah, you save, so you are not knocked prone. You're still standing.
Going for the bow shot. On the
What are you
one
shooting?
Short bow.
No, but like which wolf? I was trying to get to you before you rolled it.
Oh, the one that isn't attacking anybody.
They're all attacking somebody. Like just northeast? The one north of Sarkis?
Yes, correct.
Alright. Before you roll, do you understand, like, how many shots do you have?
1.
And how's your sneak attack work? There's 2 wolves that you can sneak attack against right now. Do you know what I'm saying?
No, I do not.
If you shoot the wolf that is next to unconscious Sarkis, there's no chance for a sneak attack. If
But
you
if
shoot
I go next,
the ones that Kavi is next to, you can sneak attack. So if you go for one of them, you actually have that chance to deal all of your potential damage. And we've already seen you can deal pretty much half a wolf's life in a shot.
all right, I'll go for the one that is just west of Sarkis.
Gotcha. So roll that attack. If it's a crit, you can probably kill a wolf in a single hit, I think. I think you're getting close to where you can do like 60 or 80 damage with a crit. It's gonna go wide anyways. And miss. Sarkis, death saving throw? One success. One is going to leap out at Flea with a 14 to hit.
Correct.
Like that hits? That's your AC?
Yes. AC 14.
Gotcha. And it is going to do 10 piercing damage. Make a strength saving throw for me. And then it's going to go to Kavi.
I want to cast Cure Healing Word on Sarkis.
Gotcha. So that's your bonus action. And if you'd like, you can do... All right, Flea, you will fall prone as the wolf leaps up to you. So you still have an action, and you can move if you would like. But also roll the healing, too.
Okay, I guess it's time for the dagger and a rapier. So
Wait, hold up. It's still on Kavi.
Sorry.
And I can't use 2 spells in one turn, correct?
You cannot use 2 spell slots, but you can use a cantrip, so you can Vicious Mockery still.
Okay, then I'll do that with the one directly next to her.
And just to recognize, that wolf almost missed because of the Vicious Mockery. That was way too close on Flea, but... so next to you, to the east of you?
Yes.
Alright, roll that. And Sarkis, you take 8 healing points as you gain consciousness again. The wolf seems unaffected by the mockery. So the first wolf on Kavi should miss with an 11.
Yes.
Second wolf is going to break off and go after Flea. Sarkis, you can react as the wolf leaves your combat. At disadvantage, you can take a unarmed strike because technically you do not have your staff in hand right now.
Okay, I'll just sit up real quick and go, "What happened? Damn wolves!" And I'll try to punch it in its paw.
That is a successful strike on it. And then it is going to leap out at Flea. 15 should hit, and it will do 11 piercing damage. You are already prone, so no more strength check. It will go to Flea.
Now, does Uncanny Dodge apply from that attack?
I feel like Uncanny Dodge is any attack that you can see, you can have the damage. You can either post it, or you can...
Yeah, because I didn't take my Uncanny Dodge last time.
Yep, I think that's what you can do right now, is you can use that reaction to have that 11 and take 5 damage piercing.
Okay, I said during the last turn I was going... Did I have enough time to pull my dagger and my rapier, or no? Get up?
That was during Kavi's turn that you were saying that, so when you are standing up here, you would have already dropped your bow. No, you don't drop your bow when you get knocked prone. So you still have your bow in hand, but you can drop your bow now, and you can draw... I mean, realistically, you're just going to grab one weapon, so you can draw your rapier. But just to tell you, like, if you're going for two-handed fighting, you have to have 2 light weapons. Like, the rapier won't count towards that, so once you draw the rapier, there's no reason to draw the other weapon anyways.
Okay. Okay, well, I drew the rapier. I'll stick with it, and then won't do it again.
Well, no, I mean, it's still that same turn, but the thing is you can only draw one weapon right now, pretty much regardless.
Okay, well, I'll pull the rapier.
Both of them are pretty similar health. They don't look unhealthy at all. Which one do you want to strike at?
The one directly to my east.
Gotcha. Roll the damage. And then Sarkis, you're going to be up next. You glance through the fur and do injure it a little bit, just not too much. You're welcome to do any other movement or anything else, but otherwise it will go to Sarkis.
I'm done.
All right, Sarkis will pop back up to his feet, and I'm gonna move. I'll run through this wolf's legs, and then run right here, and then I will. Oh wait, I'm gonna pick up my staff.
Yeah, that's just your free action while you get up.
Okay, yeah, I'll do that, and then I'm gonna run through that wolf's feet, and then in between, I want to go. Yeah, that'll work. I'll go right here, and then I'm going to do staff attack two-handed at the one that's directly west of me right now. And I'll yell out, "I'm not done with you!"
It's a solid strike.
Nice.
The second one connects solid as well.
So that one looked pretty bloody right now?
It's bloodied after those two hits.
Okay, cool. I want to use my key point to do flurry of blows, and then I'm going to use one of the flurries for my hand of healing.
Who are you healing and attacking the same wolf with the first unarmed strike?
Yeah, I'm going to punch that same wolf right in his nose, and then I'm going to heal myself.
So you can see the spot where the two strikes from your staff hit that wolf. It has actual bones sticking out of its hind legs. That wolf is pretty severely bloodied.
And maybe I'll heal myself. Ha ha! I'll take your soul, man.
Striking out at Flea. The next wolf should hit with a 18. And it's going to do 12 piercing damage to you.
Uncanny dodge. I'll make it 6.
So you'll take 6. And it will go to Kavi.
Vicious mockery on the wolf directly east of her.
That seems to be a success, as it seems to kind of shriek out when you cast your spell.
Then I'm going to give Bardic Inspiration to Flea.
Thank you.
That wolf is the next up. It is going to... I think it's going to move through and leave combat with Sark as it reaches out to attack Flea.
Can I hit it again?
Yep, that's exactly why I say it.
I'm going to take my staff and try to kneecap it so it can't run away.
Would it also be an opportunity attack for Kavi as well?
It does not leave yours. So that's a hit. And it is going to bite out at Flea, dealing 12 piercing damage to you.
Okay, uncanny dodge.
You already used your reaction, so you have to wait till your next go around. You'll have to take all of that. This one is going to turn around and bite out at Kavi. Should hit with a 19, and it will do 8 piercing damage to you. Oh, I need a strength saving throw from both of you, Flea and Kavi, please. Kavi is good. Flea, you are going to start your turn prone on the ground. But it is your turn.
Okay, rapier to the one directly to my north.
Make an intelligence check for me. Word. 16 hit. Again, if you notice that you roll an attack and it doesn't roll damage, please just roll the damage as soon as possible. And Sarkis, you'll be coming up next.
Not letting me roll damage for some reason. Four points of damage.
You'll have your sneak attack too, so you still need to roll those dice.
And 5 damage for that one.
Wait,
Oh,
what? Your sneak attack's 3d6, so it's the 1d8 plus 3, and then 3d6. Like, I rolled the 1, but that's trash, but I will take it because this is taking a minute now. Sarkis, what are you doing?
I'm gonna attack the one that's just west of me right here. With the
Go for it.
staff.
That's going to hit, and the wolf is going to crumble to the ground dead.
And then I'm gonna jump on top of its body. And is the one? Can I tell which one's more damage? Is it the northern one right now?
Roll a perception. Yep, the one to the west of you is pretty well hurt.
I'm gonna do my second attack, double-handed quarterstaff on that one.
That will hit, and it's severely bloody.
Okay, and then I'm gonna do an unarmed strike against that same one.
That's going to kill it.
That's it for my turn.
It's going to go to the wolf, which is going to go for Kavi. It's going to leave combat with you, Flea. Can use your reaction to make an opportunity.
yeah, I was going to do an opportunity attack.
That will hit. Roll damage. And it's on you, Kavi.
Give me a second. I hit the wrong button.
So that wolf is bloodied right now.
Alright, she's still gonna use Vicious Mockery on it.
I'll go to Flea. Actually, if Flea and Sarkis want to roll here, yep, that's going to kill it. And that is where we are going to pick up here next week, with you all making your way towards the Wizard of Wines outside of Vallaki.